alcohol, it stands out to the law enforcement, it stands out to us.
This is an escape from reality. People do substances to escape from reality.
The knowledge means nothing when your mind has been exploded.
Strict guidelines, many parts, and info interviews will come from the following video. For the full uncut video, join our Patreon, patreon.com/psychsubstance.
Okay, hello, I am back with Sean.
And check in on each other, take care of each other. That's huge.
It's been a few years. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you're looking good.
Thank you, you too.
So I work with a nonprofit called Care Collective down in the States in Washington, and we're a harm reduction collective that branched off of an event organizer.
You were just telling me you're a harm reduction worker who specializes in addiction counseling.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Your security, but you deal with many overdoses that result in critical health conditions.
No, I would say over the years, probably the saddest part I've seen is sometimes people experiment with a psychedelic or something pretty heavy, and it triggers something in their mind and never quite the same.
You've seen that here.
I have seen that here, and I would say that's the saddest thing I've actually seen at a major music festival.
What's the biggest mental risk, would you say, of using substances to cope?
Getting disconnected from, I guess, who you really are. And sometimes it's almost like you become the substance and lose touch with like yourself and who you really are and what actually brings you meaning to your life.
It's someone who has a pre-existing condition that they're maybe not aware of. I can't clinically diagnose what happened,
Right.
but what I do happen, it's at a point. I think it's only been 2 or 3 times in the 15 years that I've been here where we had someone's family come pick it out because they were
Like the next day, they were still gone.
3 days later.
Wow.
3 days later. This is a reality of, experimenting with substances, and with some people, you never know. Everybody's body's unique.
Every drug hits everyone differently.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is the most prominent drug that causes problems here?
I would say right now, it's people who are taking MDMA mixes that they don't quite know. So we have, like, for instance, there's a really popular press pill, White Lightning, that's going around this year at the festivals. But every White Lightning is not the same.
What's in it traditionally, MDA?
MDA with MDMA, but you have to understand, White Lightning is just what multiple dealers or people supplying are calling the pill.
So what could it be?
It could be MDX. It could be, if you go to Anchors and talk to them, have you talked to them about what's inside?
Yeah. And I'm here with
Lucas.
Lucas.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, you as well. This is great.
You're working at the Anchors tent.
Yes, I am
Tell me a little bit about what that is.
So yeah, the Anchors tent, we do harm reduction services and drug checking. So we can basically take your sample and we put it under a spectrometer. And we can tell you a couple components that are in it.
So what's the most common drug that people have been testing this year? It's always different every year.
Yeah, I wouldn't know off the top of my head from my experience testing. I would say probably a lot of ketamine comes in. And thankfully ketamine's usually not too adulterated. It usually comes back pretty much just with ketamine.
We find sometimes actually something as simple as just somebody putting a lot of caffeine powder in there. Like, we've actually here at Shambhala caught people coming in with copious amounts of powdered caffeine.
Wow.
And then at the same time, those same pills you buy over the counter that's supposed to give you boners, they're selling it as a version of ecstasy or whatever. And it's just caffeine and like herbal boner pills.
The normal boner pills like Viagra or Cialis, the Tadalafil, if you mix those with MDMA, it can kill you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why something like a testing, which is now accepted, at least here in this province and a lot of places in Canada, it's so important to have that.
How often do you find fentanyl via test strips?
I haven't tested any. I don't know if we found any yet. But yeah, it's definitely a lot more rare here.
During this, what's going on in the fentanyl crisis that we had in this province particularly, and I've lost some good people, and I didn't even know one of them was a casual drug user. They, recreationally used cocaine once in a while, and then one Saturday night they thought they were doing cocaine, and it was
fentanyl
in it, and they passed away. And this is a 40-year-old, family man with young kids, full family. No one knew about, and that's why it's so important to take away the stigma from recreational drug use, right? Maybe you don't want to go and declare it to your boss and everyone you work with, but at the same time, what you do in your private life, as long as it's not affecting your work, it shouldn't be something that you get stigmatized for.
Usually they grow up in very like strict households with a lot of like
Okay, so it's a lot of shame attached to it.
a lot of shame.
But we just need to accept it more in society, right? And if we have that, then we won't lose our friends, hopefully, because their stigma will be taken away, and they'll be more open for testing. They'll be more open for explaining what they use recreationally, or maybe what they're having an issue with.
Yeah.
So
It's shame. Do you think it's shame that stops them from being open?
I think it is shame. It is shame.
Which
It's
is created
fear
by
of being
the
judgment.
judgment,
Yeah. Whereas you have doctors who are now in trouble for years of prescribing opiates and all kinds of things that there's no stigma attached to that.
Because I've been doing opium from like last 2 or 3 years. It helps you with life, you just get through every day. Like nothing happens, nothing affects you. You know, like daily life, it makes you pretty happy though.
Is it a big problem in India?
Yeah, it is, I guess so.
It's basically, the new crack pandemic has been the fentanyl and, mostly the opioids that were being prescribed.
Wild that the drugs that are socially accepted are more dangerous
Yes.
than the drugs that are rejected.
The doctor in one of our meetings made this point. He's from Quebec, and in Quebec they have one of the biggest Ironman competitions in the year. People train year-round in Quebec for this Ironman competition. And when they have the Ironman competition, it's not out to have about 2 fatalities from people pushing themselves.
Wow.
So if you take the amount of people who are participating in the Ironman competition and you take that data and you compare it to Shambhala Music Festival, Shambhala Music Festival is safer than having a major Ironman competition.
That's insane. Reminds me of bodybuilding, same thing. You see these really fit, ripped guys, but did you know it's unhealthy to be that lean?
Yeah, and also the body changes in your body from taking human growth hormones and steroids and all that.
And have you seen the horns? The HG horns?
I have seen that. I've seen
I
that.
don't know why people do it.
I know, everybody here is just wearing a smile. The people who have horns here, it's part of their costumes.
I'm here with a demon.
And it's 2 different people putting substance in their body to achieve a goal. Here it's to have a varied state of mind for the most part. There in bodybuilding is to increase body size. And there's a stigma around that as well. But take away the stigma. It's your body. You do it with what you want, but do it in an educated, safe manner, and also do it when in the presence of others, so people know what you're doing. There's also a whole camp that's Camp Clean Beats. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
And it's completely clean camp. No alcohol, no drugs, recovering.
Are you sober this festival?
I'm sober. I've been sober since December 28th. This is an escape from reality. People do substances to escape from reality. But Shambhala, in an environment like this, Burning Man, it is an entire different world you're stepping into. So you don't need to do substances in order to escape into it.
So this festival is really for everyone, and I mean everyone. So we do have some people who come here and they're a bit broken from trauma in their life. And I usually find those are the people who lack self-control. And that's why it's so important to have that buddy system. Out partying and you have a buddy, sometimes you'll have that buddy that's like, yeah, do more. I don't really think you get that here. And if you do, or if you're that type of person, don't be that person that's egging on for more and more.
I felt super bad for my friend, and I was like, I am so sorry that I gave you all of these edibles. She had requested them, but at the same time I should have been like, let's wait, let's feel it out, wait until the first one hits, or even wait until the second one hits before we take a third.
Be that person that's saying, no, you actually just took a hit half an hour ago, you need to get another hour and a half, depending on what it is. No, I get you don't feel it. Wait longer.
Sometimes it takes, if you ate food, it can take 2 hours for some.
Exactly. But the number one issue we have is people who they basically didn't wait long enough for that first dose to hit, and they hit a second or third. I would say 3 out of 5 that are in our medical, that is the situation. You're not eating your normal times. You're not drinking your normal time. Your body composition is not your usual body composition.
And the heat.
And the heat. Yep. So when you have people with that, and then they're dosing up, and the excitement, they go a little too far, then they mix it with something. That's the issue, and that's why, at Anchors that attend here, they have the dose. What happens if you mix certain substance? They have the crush. They have the matrix there, and so you can see not a good idea. Okay. Yeah.
Other question would be, how's the violence lately? Was there more violence the first year the festival came back?
No, there wasn't more violence. This year we have, I would say, 30% of all of our guests that are here are first timers, and we have some people who are used to going to, say, the Coachellas or the big festivals, North America wide, that have alcohol.
I think the no alcohol makes a big difference.
I think it's huge. I actually think it's huge. No one's aggressive. No one is hungover the next morning. Everyone is just pleasant. So I think it makes a huge difference.
But for the most part, people with alcohol, they usually stand out.
I see.
Because they're not,
you can smell it on them too.
You can smell it, and then it's usually aggressive belligerence. It's
crazy to me that alcohol, the most socially accepted drug, causes the most problems, more than all these illegal drugs combined usually. And not just emotionally, mentally, physically too.
Yeah, and that's the same comment that we get from all the police officers who tour here. They all say, because they all do the major festivals, the country music festivals, the rock festivals. Without doubt, they say this is the calmest festival, dealing with the people that they have here. They've even dealt with people on the road with road infractions, and each time they just say that some of the best people they run into, and they don't have issues. So it's alcohol, it stands out to the law enforcement, it stands out to us, and so that's the reason why we've kept it a dry festival.
Even though some people are drinking, it's for the most part, no one is drinking, so that kind of makes it all better.
Oh, that's nice.
That's my buddy.
And so you have those, groups of bro, Chad type guys rolling around, but right away, they feel that, whoa, this is not that type of, festival where they can catcall, be that bro group, that Chad group.
Do they try?
They don't really get a chance. I think once you set up camp here and you meet your campmates, you realize you're in a place that's like no other. You're really in an area where people care for you. They'll respect you, whatever your background is, however you present. It's a major reason why this festival has been going for now. Next year's our 25th anniversary. And I've been a part of a lot of major music festivals, big corporate festivals. They come and go. This festival here, it's continued and it's grown in this, sustainable way, and it's kept its culture. It's kept its soul, and that's the thing. This difference is, I feel it really does have a soul, and it's from a bunch of weirdos getting together and being allowed to be whoever they are, and being allowed to do and experiment in the way they like to, and knowing that they have the care and support and love that's around them to take care of them, even if at some point they do make a mistake. So we're not here to facilitate mistakes. We're here to take care of those who are just here to be themselves. And if they end up making a mistake, security, harm reduction, medical, we're here to hopefully keep them healthy.
I love that. Awesome. I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
You give tons of good information. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I appreciate it.
Again,
You as well.
You coming to come back future years?
I will.
Yeah. You're always welcome here.